Browns?
My
Hey, there
my
she
parents
is.
both grew up in Cleveland, so I grew up
Hey,
rooting
guys.
for the Browns.
Hello, Sal.
That's cool. Cleveland has not been doing very well, but I appreciate that you're a Cleveland fan still.
I'm gonna stick with them until they win a Super Bowl someday. We'll see if it's in my life.
That's cool. That's a true fan right there.
I'm not putting it on the ground.
Hey, Sarah.
Yeah?
We were curious. Did you get the memo about our professor joining us?
Yeah, that was why I logged in late. I was still struggling with this stuff. But I just sent her the email with the
Oh, cool. The link.
Yeah, I think I sent it to the right place, but
Was it that?
I
What's
saw
the
in the
first-
Meet Your Professor her email, like Sharon.Chanley@ASU.
That's it.
Okay, cool. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to send it in the like inter-class or.
Oh, that was exactly right.
Okay, cool.
Sean, you're muted.
Am I unmuted?
No, you're not.
All right.
And we are recording.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Great.
Everybody knows I lost both recordings, right?
We'll have to do it again.
We saw your email, yeah.
Is she gonna extend some grace towards us for that?
Yeah, she has no problem with that.
All right. Good.
We're also going to get credit for that first team discussion that we failed to send in on time.
Okay.
Right.
And she grades last.
She what?
She will be giving those points last, but they're all
Oh.
extra credit.
Okay.
So it's not going to show up, but we can count on them being there.
That's correct. That's what she told me today.
She doesn't grade much. Is that accurate?
You know, she talked about that today. She's got 68 students in this class.
Oh.
I think we've submitted something like 10 different things to be graded. So
Yeah.
as she can. So that's, it's just going to be slow, but
Right.
And I think she likes our team very much.
Yeah, I appreciated your little conversation you had with her earlier, Tom, about Chapter 4's quiz. Because I did Chapter 4's quiz and it didn't grade right away, and I'm like, what the heck? You know? And then it posted later on, so thanks.
Exactly. Yes. Unfortunately, it posted later.
Yeah. I'm sure you did fine.
So it's coming along, but the quizzes are a lot harder than I remember them. The 20, 22, 23 out of 25. But there's like 29 questions, and we're getting 22 out of 25 or 23 out of 25. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I think that's why she had that thing today about changing the quizzes to just all be 25 points instead of making it 50 points for the unit and then having to split up the quizzes into different point totals. So
Yeah.
should make it a little easier.
There's actually extra credit in the quizzes now, too. If
Oh,
you
is there?
It's like the one that was 27 questions. There was potential for 2 extra credit points.
There was
in that
in
one.
Unit 1 too, because I remember
Yes.
was like one of the quizzes was only worth like 11 or 12 points. So I thought, oh, it's only going to be like 12 questions, and it was still like 25 questions. But
Yeah.
Right. So tonight,
Hey,
she's peeking.
she's trying.
There she is.
Hi, I just got
Hello.
the email. How are you all?
good. How are
Good.
you?
How are you?
Good. It's good to see some faces with some names. I recognize some of your names. I thought Tom said maybe you had questions for me. So feel free to ask. I'm just here for a minute. So you all can go about your meeting. But I wanted to see if you had any questions. Other than where grades, which you already know the answer.
That's what we were just talking about, actually.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just am always way behind because I always am doing too much stuff, as you all are. And unfortunately, you don't get to grade me except at the very end. And then you can say, she's always late with grades. I get to say, oh, you can't be late. So, I'm
Well, the
sorry.
better you grade us, the better we grade you, right?
No, I don't. Well, I think actually it doesn't work that way. The people who seem to fill out the student evaluations usually are people who don't like the class. And then the people who do say, well, I liked it. I don't know why I needed to do that. And you all don't understand that what they do with those things. They actually use them. And I actually read them. But the program uses them too. We get merit raises or not. We get promoted or not. We get job in future contracts or not. So really, they do pay attention to them. And so if only bad people fill them out and we only have 26% return rate, they don't mean anything. So we really need more people to fill them out. You'll get 80 million emails from me at the very end of the class saying, please fill out your student evaluation. Please fill out your student evaluation, because they really want us to, but we're not allowed to reward you in any way. We can't give you extra credit or anything. I mean, they just say, just remind them and they'll do it. So if you have a few minutes at the end of the class, do it. I do pay attention, and I try and make the classes better.
We could actually add that to our team charter.
Oh, you did? You should.
Yeah.
We will. We will now.
You really should, because not everyone reads theirs. I mean, that's true. A lot of faculty do not even crack theirs at all. I read mine. I wait for mine to come open, and I read them, and I pay attention. And if there's things in there that aren't just, she was 11th grade, which I already know. If people make suggestions to me, I try and change the course. And you'll see that. That's why I'm running behind with fixing the course, because I'm making changes that people suggested in prior sessions. So, and oh my God, I didn't really think about how many more teams this was going to be. It's 12 teams. I usually have 5 or 6. And so and every team is wanting something, and, so I have to actually pay more attention. But I think that the experience you'll get from this class, I think, is much more like a real experience in a virtual team, because you're not just jumping in and with me saving you. You all are dealing with the problems that all virtual teams deal with. Do you have anybody on your team who's not showing up yet? Yet?
We've had a couple people that have missed a meeting here and there, but everybody has contributed.
Yeah, everybody's contributing. It's been real reasons for not showing up. So.
Okay, well then that's good. Some of the teams are dealing with, there's one person posting and nobody else is, and so they're wondering how they're supposed to get 4 responses in. Well, yeah, that's a challenge when you only have one person. And oh, my dog. And some of them are posting things in the wrong place, and trying to figure out the layout of the class, and nobody's asking me, so they're having some trouble finding things. And I'm not the best layout. I mean, the Blackboard is awful for doing teams. Just so you know, they don't make it very user friendly. Do you know where to put your assignments now? Have you figured that out? It's not where you would think on the front page where it says group discussion. You would think it would have a link for group assignments, but it doesn't. You have to go into another link and then into another place. And it doesn't let you load up recordings very well. It takes too long to do it. So that's why you're having to do your recordings in YouTube, because it's faster. ASU might be changing to a different platform. And if they do, what I hear is that the discussion format is better, the team format is better. There's a built-in video recording thing, so you don't have to go outside and do something separate. So that'll be cool. And maybe more people will use this process of talking to students in person. So do you all have any questions?
The only question I have that keeps coming up in my head is there like an end goal for this project, or is it just kind of building a team and having the experience of building a team and all that kind of stuff?
Well, you're going to, the project you're working on is you're going to interview one of your members. So you all will actually pick somebody from your team to interview, and ask them and hopefully pick somebody. Well, you don't have to, but you should probably pick someone who has some team experience so that you can pick their brains about teams. However, if you don't want to do that, it's up to you. If there's somebody on your team that has something very interesting you'd like to learn more about, you can interview them about that. You can also, if you would prefer, invite somebody to come and you can interview them. So it's up to you. This course is designed where you interview one of your members. So you go through that process, you learn more about teams, and then you go through the assessment process, which is a tough thing to do, where you assess each other and get some practice doing that. So it's less of sort of an end result and more of a learning as you go process. And you can get as much from that as you want or as little. But it's designed, the course is designed with the end goal in mind, that you will have an experience of doing teams and figuring out how things work and don't work.
So I think one of the things when we were discussing our ideal team charter last week,
Uh-huh.
and then talking about for this week more of our team specific charter, just not really understanding what the like underlying goal of the team was. That, you know, if it was in a business sense, if it's trying to increase, you know, viewership for something, or marketing or sales, but for us not knowing like what other than kind of like Brian had mentioned, other than just the being a team.
That's it. That's the goal for the team, is the experience of being a team and learning about teams. So it's not that you have sort of another goal off here like you might if you were working somewhere. But the goal of this team is for you to learn about teams by being a team.
Very good.
And that's a legitimate learning thing. That's a legitimate goal for you to have. It's why you're taking the class.
Mm-hmm.
So, and virtual teams, I don't know if you all have ever been on a virtual team, but they are, they're happening everywhere now. And so when you all go, well, Tom, this won't apply to you because you're not going to be looking for jobs probably in the future, maybe.
No.
But for the rest of you all, this experience of doing this and actually not just learning about teams, but actually doing a virtual team is something that you can use in your resume and sell yourself on, because it is something people will look for. I'm on several virtual teams, and it is a different experience than sitting in a room with someone. This is better than some of the teams I'm on where there's me, virtual, and then everybody else is in the room. And that's a whole nother experience because they're having a team meeting and I'm just kind of there. And so it's harder to interact. But when you all are meeting and you actually are doing this, and government does it, my sister-in-law works for GAO, she does a lot of this kind of work, where they actually meet and they meet with people across the world. So this is something you can really use on your resume to talk about having had this experience.
Very good.
Okay, so and I encourage you all to use the textbook as a resource. So when you're asking questions of yourselves, I mean, how's the best way to do this? Look and see what they say, so that you're not just kind of, doing it how you think it might work, but actually using the literature and the books to guide you so you get that practice. Okay?
That in the George Washington University site?
Yeah, that's a great site. And they were very generous and let us use their team charter. And that's why I wanted you all to do an ideal before you started talking about your specifics, because people tend to jump into the specific and do the task and not go through the process. And so you would never learn about other ways that teams can use a charter. I'm on a team, well, they kicked me off actually, so I'm not on this team anymore. But I was on a team for another university, and we had no charter and no clear operating procedures, and it was a disaster. And it was designed actually to be kind of a disaster because they didn't really want the members of the team to really have much say. And so they didn't operate with any sort of principles or policies or who's going to make what decisions. They just kind of, everybody just kind of talked, and then everybody went off. And so the team was just for show. And that happens all the time, unfortunately, in higher education and in government and other places. And so if we had had a charter, maybe we could have from the beginning exerted some pressure. Those of us who actually wanted the team to work could have exerted some pressure through that process and had the group work. I don't know, but they sure didn't want to. And if you don't want the team to work, the best way to do that is don't set up any formal processes. Just make sure it's just kind of everybody goes in the room, goes, yeah, okay, and then leaves. So you'll have an opportunity, but this course was designed, I don't know if I told you all this in the syllabus, this course was actually designed by students who took the course. So I've made some changes to it from when they were, but mostly it's their ideas. You know, we should do it this way, we should do it that way. So you're getting a student design class, which is probably pretty unusual. Sean, you look bored.
No, I'm not bored. That's just my face.
Oh, okay. So any other questions? Do you understand what you're doing with the team charter? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
All right. And then the next task you'll have will be, I think, to start talking about what you want to do with the interview. Is that right? Okay. And you'll do the same kind of thing. You'll have, I would suggest a Google Doc if you use one for this, where you all come up with your questions. You have to decide whether you want it to be each person asks all their questions, or if you go kind of round robin and have it be more of a discussion, what kinds of topics you want to cover. I want you all to be sure and read the article that has to do with interviewing, because this is a qualitative research method, and that's part of what you're doing here. Is everybody knows quantitative research methods, right? Polls and surveys and all that, but not very many people know what you can get from doing qualitative research like interviews. So here's one example of if you were going to do a research project on teams and wanted to interview people who had been on teams to find out their experience, this would be what it would be like, and the depth that you could go into that you wouldn't be able to do if you were doing a survey. So it gives you an experience with that kind of research too. And then you do the interview, you talk about the interview afterwards, and then you assess each other and yourselves. And then the class is over. I mean, then we're done, right? Because that's 7.5 weeks. So, and you all will find that you've really bonded, if you haven't already, that you'll find some. Go ahead.
I think we're starting to bond.
Yeah. And some of the teams really do. And are you all, I mean, I don't know where you are in terms of graduating, but sometimes what my students do is talk about wanting to go and meet each other in person, because we really do share stuff. So just have some fun. I mean, try not to get too freaked out about the grades. It's going to be fine. If you're doing the work, you'll be fine. This is my dogs. Ill-trained, badly behaved golden retrievers barking at the wildlife outside. So let me know if you have questions. Otherwise, have fun, and I will be back in touch. I'm going to try and catch up with grades as soon as I can. I'm doing some now. I've been doing them all day. I hate doing them. They're boring to do. I wish I could just give everybody A's, but they won't let me do that. And I just, it's hard to grade 68 things in a row. So I'm doing the best I can, but hang in there. It will be fine. All righty?
All right.
Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Sure. Call me if you need me. Otherwise, I'll talk to you all at some point, maybe.
All right, we'll do. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I sent out a link with a not completely blank, but a new team charter. If you
Got that.
go to the, yeah, I saw Sean's on it already. I figured it'd be easier to have the ideal charter and then have a new charter where we put stuff in instead of just editing the ideal charter, so that we kind of have where we were and where we're going. Sounds okay to people. And then I noticed in the assignment for this week, it said to specifically focus on the team communication and decision making, team conflict, cultural considerations, and team compensation, i.e. grades, and then add anything else that we'd like to see. So I thought maybe we could start with those sections and go over what people have put in there and what we want to have in the final charter, and then we can always add more stuff after we cover those things.
Okay.
Very good. We're going to complete this tonight then, and start to submit it.
I think we should at least complete those main sections, and then if we want to have anybody add stuff to the other sections, we can add stuff before we submit it.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
say maybe hold off on submitting it tonight just in case Amy has, because Amy said she was going to watch the video. I'm going to send her the link.
Yep.
And so she said that she wanted to watch it and see kind of what we had discussed.
Great. But it's due tomorrow, is it not?
Is it? I thought it was due.
I think it's due on the 2nd.
Yeah, I thought
That's
it was.
I don't think so. I think that the replies are due on the 2nd. No?
Well, let me double check. I'm on grades right now. I'll look at the due dates.
I can't
Okay.
keep track when anything's due in this class.
Okay, initial posting. So our discussion assignment, the initial posting is due Thursday. Responses are due Monday, but the actual assignment doesn't have a due date. Oh wait, it's Monday. Unit 3 team written assignment 3.4 is Monday, April 2nd. On the revised.
Thursday. What's Thursday then?
Thursday is the the discussion. So she was saying for groups that weren't doing a Zoom, we had to have your initial point of contact.
I see.
Because
Okay.
if we're doing the Zoom meeting this week, we don't have to worry about the actual team discussion. We'll just have to do our synopsis.
There's a discussion we have to do on our own too, like another project separate from all this. We got to do that's due tomorrow as well, right?
Yeah, that's the class trust on virtual teams one is due.
Yeah.
The initial post
Oh,
is due
yeah.
tomorrow, and then the response.
Tomorrow, and then how many comments do we have to have? 2 or 4?
I
For
think
that one, it's 2.
Yeah,
2.
for individual class discussions, it's 2 responses. It's for the team ones if we weren't going to do a Zoom. If we were going to be doing a discussion post,
Okay.
just interacting with each other, that was when we had to have at least 4. But if we do the Zoom meeting 90 minutes plus of Zoom, then that makes the other thing null and void.
Sweet.
And if you do more than 2 responses, sometimes she gives you extra credit. So 4 is a good number.
That's so much.
Yeah.
You're asking
I'm
me-
not an overachiever, so I'll be doing 2.
I'm lucky if I get
For the 5 A's.
I think we'll get A's.
Ugh.
I'm fine.
I'm living it on time.
Fine with a personal B as long as everybody gets an A on our project.
It's 100 points.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, are we going to go over the deal?
Yep.
Carter?
Let's get started on the key sections. Okay.
I have too many windows open.
Yeah, I had to start doing all of my work on my PC instead of on my laptop because I have a 27-inch screen, so I can put the pages next to each other and watch video while I do the other stuff. Makes it a little easier.
I think I might try and do a Zoom thing on a different screen next time. This is too much. All right.
Are we going to start with purpose or go down to the bottom? How do you want to do that? Should we start at the top and just work through them, each one?
Well, I mean, I think the purpose one we kind of discussed just with her, that the purpose of this is to, build teamwork and understand kind of how that connection and the importance of communication and all that stuff.
Man, is somebody using a typewriter?
No, my keyboard's just really loud. It's the pitfalls of a mechanical keyboard.
Holy cow.
I'm just taking some notes as we go.
My ex had one of those. It'd drive me crazy when I'd be trying to sleep and hearing the click, 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 click.
Okay, so purpose we spoke about briefly with her. Our original purpose: have each team member work interdependently to accomplish any specific goal or project as outlined. I think we can just not necessarily scrap that, but kind of pare it down and make it a little less
Wordy.
Yeah, a little less.
Just make it our charter instead of the idea. That's all we need to do.
I'm going to mute myself while I type.
Hi.
Are you in the car?
Yeah. That's my daughter. She's looking through the back window.
How old is she?
She's 3.
That's great.
Wait. Say hi. Hi. We're camping, so they're all having fun. I'm in here trying to do class stuff.
Where are you guys camping?
We're in Idlewild. It's in the mountains above Palm Springs.
Okay.
And there's my other one. He's back there too.
That's great.
Oh my gosh.
I got 2 girls.
Lucky you.
Yes.
I have 2 also.
You got 2 girls too?
I do, but they're both married.
I want to grow up to be like you, Tom.
Yeah. 2 married girls and 1 married boy.
All right, I just got a weird thing from Zoom, and they said I got a one-time unlimited meeting. So this one's not going to cut off at 40 minutes. We can
Oh, great.
chat until we feel like going home.
Okay.
Tom, did you get the link in the email for the new Google Doc, by the way?
I did not, and I don't know where to look.
I see Sarah and Sean are both in there. Let me try and resend it.
It's
Should I
just
just close up and go? Should I just close and go back to the?
He'll just email it to you, and it should be a link from the email, and then it'll take you to it from your Google account.
I think I might have put your email in there wrong, so let me do it again. TSTHILAI. Yeah, there you are.
Tom, how do you pronounce your last name anyway?
It's Saint Hilaire.
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 Got it.
No link yet. I just resent it, so I think you should have it.
Okay.
By now.
So
I wrote, just for your benefit, I put as the purpose of Team 4 is to come together as an effective team, learn to communicate effectively, and connect with each other. This is a learning experience and should be treated as one. I don't know if anybody wants to edit that or add to it or anything.
I mean, we can talk. She said kind of the culminating project is going to be our interview. And so I don't know if we want to include that in the purpose of our team.
I think that can fall under the goals, right?
Oh, yeah. I guess that makes sense.
This is just like the overarching purpose of the end game of the interview is to come together as a team and perform this interview. So that's kind of how I made it. But add what you like.
Did you get the link, Tom?
Yes, I got the link. Let me open it now. You have the link. Anybody see me?
You're in there now.
Okay. But I can't see any of you.
Well, you're in the documents. So.
I'm in the documents, but I can't see you on the screen.
Oh, can
Oh,
you hear us?
Oh yeah, when you go into the document, it cuts it out.
Does anybody know how I get back to that screen? Join a meeting, I suppose, huh?
Yeah, maybe click on the Zoom icon and back to
Yeah.
meeting.
Either the icon or you might have just minimized the window.
I was gonna say it might just be minimized if you look on the taskbar at the bottom if it's still open.
Oh,
Did you find us?
got it. I'm on board. Hanging in there. Purpose looks great.
All right. So then for the goals, I mean, we can discuss the end goal in terms of the interview. And then also
Maybe the end goal of being able to put together a team. I don't know, effectively put a team together.
I like Tom's section that he added to our ideal charter where it says collaborative work, timely work, excellence, shared decisions, and have fun doing it. I think we could probably just work that into it as a good coverage of like the team building's specific goals.
I guess, yeah. And I think the emphasis on actually working together as a team as opposed to just independent operators. I don't know if you guys have had to do group projects in any of your ASU classes in the past, but typically when I have, it's just everybody does their own thing and then copy and paste at the end. But for us to actually the fact that we are interacting with each other and bouncing ideas off of one another. But
and once again, Sarah, when I was talking to her today, that is exactly what she wants, is that collaborative, not individuals doing projects.
Mm-hmm.
You're exactly right.
Okay. Do you want to add anything else or move on? Oh.
You guys can discuss if you want. I was just going to kind of type something up real quick from what we just talked about.
Okay.
I'll keep interjecting.
But
I'm just muting myself because my keyboard's so loud.
My textbook.
Now there's time frames later on in this, if I remember right, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
that's good. I like that.
Oh, I can't really hear you, Tom.
That looks really good, what Brian's typing.
Can you do me a favor?
No.
Please?
What is it?
Could you bring me 2 ibuprofen?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. That looked like we covered what we need to.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Thumbs up from me.
Next, roles.
Thank you.
Brian, just so you know, all of those things are called number one again.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. I'll clean it all up like I did on the last one. For some reason, when you copy it from the original document, it makes everything screwed up. All right. Do we want to discuss roles?
I think we talked about last time having kind of like rotating in the roles. Stop it. So having different people host each week. That way it's not all on one person and they can be responsible for like uploading. And then I was just thinking in terms of like some of the teams that I've been on in the past where they have regular meetings, like someone can keep track of what we discuss, like keeping minutes. So that way when we post our synopsis, we can say, you know, stop it. Sorry. That we can say, you know, we talked with the professor and then we went over our ideal team charter and then we, sorry, I'm like really out of it right now. But yeah, I was just thinking like different roles, almost like a secretary, and then someone could be kind of like the facilitator.
Remember, the recording is actually our minutes.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to know is that each one of us was in there and did something. So it's a real short 3-4 sentences. That's all it takes. We don't, you know,
Okay.
but you want a secretary, but this is actually our recording is our secretary.
Okay.
I put a note in here. I mean, rotating through roles is a good idea, but I was concerned about whether or not it'll be complicated having people relearn each thing. You know, if we switch roles every week, like the last couple of weeks, Tom had to learn how to use Zoom, and then Sarah had to learn how to use Zoom this week, and then next week somebody else is going to have to learn how to use Zoom, and maybe somebody loses the file again, and we don't upload the video.
Right.
So I was thinking in terms of stuff like that, and then also keeping the documents looking kind of the same, because if one person edits it one week and one person edits it the next week, like they may make it look different. It's not going to be as consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So I posed the idea on our document of having more predefined roles,
Okay.
just to try to keep everything a little less complicated, I think, because I referenced back to the roles stuff that we found on the website that says problems can result from role ambiguity. So just trying to play a little devil's advocate here.
Okay.
I was thinking about that today too, Brian, and I think, you know, like the way you clean up documents is really good. And I think that is a role that we shouldn't switch around. And then Sarah, are you real comfortable with setting up these meetings and being able to download them to YouTube and link them?
Well, I mean, I haven't had to download it yet, so you can ask me tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, I created a YouTube channel for this, and think it'll work. And then I'm fine with setting up the meetings as well.
I would propose that those two tasks.
You froze.
Important reoccurring roles.
You cut out. I'm not sure if it was my connection or yours, but I didn't catch most of what you said.
Yeah, Tom, a little bit.
I think both of you, those would not be reoccurring roles. They'd be reoccurring for the two of you.
Okay.
And anything else we can assign out. I'm more than happy to do stuff, but I think we should take advantage of the talents that if you've got them.
Okay.
I don't have an issue with that, and I was also going to volunteer. I'm pretty decent with technical stuff, so if Sarah, you want to set up the meetings and like organize them and make sure they get started, I'd be happy to record them and upload them. I don't know how you give permission to me to record them.
Okay.
Whenever I hit record, it says I need permission from you to do it. So if we
I think the administrator records them, right? So maybe she could forward them to you or something. I don't know.
I mean, you
I
can
don't know if there's a way to.
like Dropbox the file to me, and I'd be happy to upload them, that kind of thing. If it's, if more complicated than you think it is, but it's up to you.
I also struggle with Dropbox.
When I switched computers last week, I became an invitee instead of an organizer, and I lost the ability to record.
Yeah, so this is
Yeah.
once I logged in, it automatically started recording. So
Yeah.
it's going. I'll see if it's something that I can forward the file to you. If not, if I struggle, I can always just give you my Zoom login, and then you can always pull it.
And you can always let me know through text or email if you need any assistance.
Great.
Careful what you
Okay.
open the door for. Tom, you're a good hype man. You're good at
At what?
you're a good hype man.
Hype.
Tom, do you know what a hype man is? Like the guy at the concert that comes out first and gets the crowd real rowdy and gets everybody excited.
So you're good at
That guy.
Hype. Okay. Yes.
You're all prepped to get those A's.
I will. I'll do the emails and get people into the game as best I can.
The only thing we need to work on in this section is figuring out a couple more roles for like Sean and Amy. How many roles we really need, though?
Sean, you can be the treasurer. You can keep track of all of our.
I'll be the treasurer. I like money.
Maybe we could have Amy review all of the work.
Review the whole video?
No, all of the documents.
Oh.
Anything we submit.
Like
I give
a content edit.
Editor.
Like
Perfect.
we have Brian kind of doing more about like tech edit. Brian, you're our IT guy.
And the what?
Your IT.
Yeah, sure. I like that. So Amy.
I put Brian down as cleanup on aisle 5.
All right, Sean, what do you want to do?
I don't know what's left.
That's what I was saying. I don't know how many roles we really.
Yeah.
I think, we can talk about who we want to interview. So Tom could always be our interviewee. That's kind of what I was leaning towards, since he's going to have the most experience in a lot of these areas.
So that's an interesting question. Is that going to be one-on-one kind of thing, or is that a group interview? How's that?
Zoom.
Well, she made it sound like we're going to, as a group, come up with questions and like what we want to learn about, and then interview one of the group members about either their experience on teams or leading teams or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, she said it could be something else. Like ideally, it's supposed to be about team and team leadership. But if there's someone that has like an expertise about something that we're all interested in, then we can have that be kind of the focal point of it. We can also bring in an outsider if we wanted.
There are 2 teams that I've led in my career. One is I was a medical evacuation helicopter pilot. And so I led a team of myself, a pilot, crew chief, and medic to pick up people. And second, I started a business and managed a staff of 5 people. And if you want to look at some kind of experiences and that in the ring. Anybody can ask me any questions about anything.
I'm putting my vote in for Tom as our interviewee.
Yeah, it sounds like we're interviewing Tom.
So Tom is officially our interviewee. Will be his main role. So he will make sure he's organized and ready to be interviewed once we figure out all our questions. So Sean, are you comfortable being like the official document submitter? Make sure our
Sure.
assignment put in and all that, so that can be your main role.
Where do we submit the documents? Like she said that it's in a weird spot. And I don't know.
Well, I noticed there was a spot in the, let's see, Unit 3 integration. I'm in it right now. Assignments. Unit 3 team discussions. We can all submit under that. Oh, no, we can't.
Group discussion under our group 4, group discussion board,
Okay.
or each assignment tells us where to.
Okay. So, but that's individually, correct? We have to individually submit.
Yes.
For like,
So Unit 3 will each individually submit our own, I guess, commentary on what we went over during our Zoom meeting.
Yeah, 3 or 4 sentences. That's
Okay.
it.
So where do we submit our charter? That's what we're trying.
Charter, I believe, is submitted under. Hold on.
because I saw something for assignments. I just haven't clicked on it.
Yeah, survey. On that survey, let's see assignments.
Unit 3.
Because when you go to the unit,
Yeah, Unit 3 team charter submission. It's under the Unit 3 integration tab, and then if you scroll down, there's Unit 3 team
Oh,
charter
okay.
submission.
I see it now. Yeah.
So we can submit whatever Google document we finally come up with. We'll just upload it.
But if you click on it, did we already try to submit that? Because if you click on it, it says that there was an attempt made on March 26th at 12:12.
Yes, there is. That's interesting.
And like normally in those kind of things, they have the drop-down menu, like browse your computer or upload a file.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no place to submit it here.
So that's why I wasn't sure. But then she signed off before I could ask her. Because when I was fiddling around with this today, I don't know.
Hold on here. Let me see if I continue on that.
Because I'm fine with the discussions, like the discussion boards that I saw where we have our team discussions where we can put our synopsis and then
You can, if you hit continue on there, you can go to where this submission is. It says Amy.
Oh yeah. Yep. Continue, then we can upload it from our docs.
It says last activity recorded is Amy, so she might have just clicked on continue or something. There's no actual submission that I see.
What? Mine
Yeah,
says,
mine says Brian.
Sean.
Oh, so yeah, it's probably just shows you whoever the last person that clicked on it was.
Okay, so when we finally complete our document, we can go in here and submit that Google Doc as our charter submission.
All right. So
Right.
that's your role.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
All right.
And if anybody has any questions, feel free to call her during the day. She wants us to call her, and she answers every time. She's got a cell phone. She's sitting there grading. But if you have problems, call her and let her know, and she'll get you there.
So
All right.
Tomorrow morning when I'm on my break at work at like 5 a.m. on the East Coast.
Do it.
So 2 o'clock her time.
Yeah, she'd love that.
Might not be a good time.
Okay.
All right.
I lost it. Okay. So Amy will sign, we'll edit, blah, 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 blah. Sweet.
All right, the roles look good to everybody.
Mm-hmm. So the next one with expectations, this one, the part in the parentheses about what percentage of overall grade will each section be, is that really our decision to make?
No, that's part of the just template that we downloaded. That
Oh, gotcha,
that's
gotcha.
not specific to our class.
Okay, cool.
No, I was going to say for this section, she said to focus on team communication and decision making.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I would say this section is probably our best place to put like the expectations for communication and organization, that kind of thing.
Okay.
I copied over what we had on the other document over there.
Collaboration.
Let me get rid of this so we can make it look nicer. Okay. Okay, so communication. I say we just start with that.
The expectation of communication.
So in the original, copy of the ideal charter, so it broke it up into communication, teamwork, participation, organization, and productivity. And we talked about collaboration, and Tom put in a comment, our team communication will involve all team members and each member is to comment or collaborate on each section. I think that's a good thing to keep. Participating during Zoom meetings. Amy. So Amy said during Zoom meetings, each member will have a turn to say any thoughts or opinions in the subject matter. If a member cannot attend the Zoom meeting, they're responsible to communicate that to each team member. That sound okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then I added a note kind of building on what Amy said about communicating if you can't make it to the meeting, about if you can't attend, they will go over the minutes and preferably watch the entire video to keep up to date on the project's goals. That seem reasonable to people.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have to double communicate everything if somebody can't make it to a meeting. All right, communication. Teamwork. So how do we want to put in there that Team 4 will provide weekly clear feedback to each member during the Zoom meeting or afterward by email? Do we want to keep something like that where we're providing feedback, or do we want to just make the feedback kind of our meetings and concentrate more on the team?
Are you guys okay with providing feedback with text or email, and then updating the document as we go?
Sorry, you cut out there on my end. You said, are we cool with text or email for communication, and then what?
Yeah, and then just as we update or as we change things, just communicating via that way, you know, if something changes.
Well, that sounds like what Sarah said here, that team members are responsible for communicating their thoughts and opinions with the rest of the team and participating to the best of their abilities via email or text message if they can't make it.
Oh, there you go. You know.
You might want to put or Zoom meetings.
Yeah, it said the Zoom meeting before the part that I read. I just paraphrased.
Yep.
Do we want to have something in terms of like a timeline? I know we've typically been doing these meetings on Wednesday, and since the units open on Monday, that like everyone should have all of their have all the readings done for the unit by the time we have our meeting, so that way it's like more engaging. You know what I'm saying?
I think I unmuted myself when I meant to mute myself. Team members will be prepared for weekly meetings by having any required reading or documentation ready prior to the meeting. Does that sound like what you were thinking?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else we'd like to add to the teamwork section of our expectations? All right, moving on to, I guess that can kind of fall under participation as well.
Yeah.
Let's make that participation. Okay. Well, let's make that. Do we want to add anything to participation? I think we had, Tom said, through equalization of participation by all team members, we will have a better chance of members' contributions to each task or project. And Amy said pretty much what Tom said.
However you think that should read.
I'm gonna take Amy's. Seems to flow a little better to me, if that's all right with you guys.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else we'd like to add to participation? Okay, moving on. Organization. Tom said, perfect, Sarah. So I'm going to assume Sarah said something good. The Zoom meeting will be structured so the first 45 to 60 minutes are devoted to discussing the week's lesson and assignment, with 15 to 30 minutes focused on class topics, and the last 15 minutes on wrap-up and scheduling next Zoom meeting and selecting weekly roles, which we've already created roles, so we'll edit that. Okay. So structured for the first 45 minutes or so devoted to discussion, with 15 to 30 minutes focused on specific topics, and the last 15 minutes for wrap up. So we're assuming these are going to be anywhere from an hour to 90 minutes each time.
Yeah, I think she was saying that if we do the Zoom meetings in lieu of a discussion post, that her expectation is that they're like 90 plus minutes. So.
Okay. I will devote that much time then. Should we set up, because each Zoom meeting you set up is 40 minutes normally?
40 minutes, yeah. So she had said that she would be the one to schedule them, because she doesn't have the free membership, so she can schedule longer meetings.
Okay.
I might take her up on that. That way we don't have to do like a disjointed.
Yeah, it would just say.
Do like a third meeting then, right? Like a third invitation?
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk to her. I'll try to give her a call maybe on Friday.
Yeah, because then she'd be able to just do one invite for the meeting, and we wouldn't have to worry about stopping every 40 minutes to switch to a different meeting. Mm-hmm. Would be nice.
Yeah.
And she might be doing the recording.
Interesting. I mean, she probably
have to give, anybody can do the recording. The host just has to give permission to somebody to record.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully she knows how to do that, and she can just give Sarah permission to record it, so we have the video. Plus, I wouldn't expect her to have to do the recording, because that would require her to be on her computer in the meeting to record it. So I think that would call to whoever's the actual.
Yeah, I'll try to. I'll give her a
The
call
meeting.
either tomorrow or Friday and see if she has some tips about how to make it a little bit more like seamless. But
How much is it? How much is it monthly to get the premium membership?
I know that's what I was like. If it's something,
I was gonna say I'd be fine. I'd be fine just subscribing and
well, I'll have to look because
making it easier.
my work does Zoom meetings really frequently, and so I might be able to use my work email to then. I'll have to figure it out. So
I think with 5 members, it's $4.95.
okay,
Oh, $4.95.
it's way too much.
Yeah, I don't know if I can afford that one.
Yeah, swing that.
$1 a piece.
Dollar each. Probably.
Talk to our treasurer.
Oh yeah, our treasurer, Sean, you're in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can swing it. I'm gonna have to up your guys' dues though.
Okay, so productivity. Do we want to? I don't know that we need to actually include every single thing that's in the original document. She made it seem like we can kind of focus on those sections and add what we want to add to it.
What
And
I
I
think-
don't know that our productivity section really is adding much to our charter unless somebody wants to have that in there.
And I agree. I think so, and I think some of the stuff too is somewhat redundant that we don't necessarily have to have.
Yeah.
And if it's something that's like outlined in a different section.
All right. Anybody have anything else to add to our expectations section? Okay. Moving on to policies, corrective actions. I guess the compensation can fall under this probably.
I feel like a lot of this falls in the hands of our instructor. You know, like we don't really have the
I was gonna say that,
authority to.
Well, I mean, when our final grade comes down to us doing the work, and if somebody's not, pulling their weight, then we
Right. So
have the power to tell the
punitively, I guess
instructor
we
that,
could.
so.
well, so I was gonna say that since like Sean was saying, it's not like we can opt to give someone a bad grade, but we can have something that if someone doesn't either communicate with the team or show up to the team meetings for a week or whatever the time window is, if someone goes dark for a week, that then we communicate with the instructor and then kind of vote them off the island.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
I mean, part of
Well, I
our
mean, we're all taking online classes for a reason, and I think if there's something comes up where we can't fulfill our end of the obligation, we're responsible to communicate the reason for that to somebody else.
Yeah,
And
that's
if we can pass that responsibility on to somebody else, then we've held up our end of the bargain. So we're responsible to do that. And if we fail to do that, like if I fail to submit a document at the end of the week without
going to cost the whole team. So
do that to somebody else, then that's on me,
Mhm.
So, we need to uphold our end of the bargain, and if we can't, at least try to get somebody else to do it for us.
Mhm.
Communicate, talk to each other,
yeah,
figure out a way to do it.
part of our communication expectations is that if a member can't attend, they'll go over the minutes and they'll make sure and communicate that to other people. So we
Sure.
can make a policy.
I guess reiterate that.
Failure to communicate may be met with removal from the group or a reduction in grade or something like that. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
failure to, but I think it also should be failure to participate, not even just communicate.
Yeah.
Because as we're doing these meetings, like if I'm just kind of sitting here dicking around while you guys are doing all the hard work, even if I'm logged into the Zoom, but I'm not actively engaged, that shouldn't be. I'm looking at you, Tom. You're the
I think I would express it in a very positive way. I think I would say something like we're all in this together and expect participation to be relatively equal, although maybe not the same. And so we'll communicate. If somebody is not communicating, we'll identify the problem and discuss.
Well, I think as a team, we're not going to want to screw any one person out of anything. But at the same time, if there's one person not doing anything, then collectively we're going to be like, hey, Sarah's not doing anything. Let's, or, Brian's not doing anything or whatever. We can't be pulling their weight,
Yeah.
They have to, I guess, how do you write that? How do you articulate that is the question. How do you articulate that?
And I think everybody is pulling their weight. We only have 4 more weeks to go.
Well,
Yeah.
no, but I think that in a charter, kind of like the
Oh, I
professor
see.
was saying that
Yeah. How do you articulate it within our assignment?
because this isn't like pointing fingers at anyone and saying that this is an issue that we have, but just that it's outlined in case it did become an issue.
Right.
I would say lack of participation will be discussed and with.
I'm just kind of typing as we talk, so I don't know if anybody wants to add to this. I'm kind of reaching a block where it starts sounding real negative if I keep typing.
I mean, it could even just
Hold on, I got this.
that the failure to communicate absence, blah blah blah, will be passed on to the professor, I guess.
Or failure for any team member to meet any expectations is subject to, I don't know.
Well, just because I was
From the
thinking,
team.
realistically for us, like the only real recourse we have, granted at the end we do our assessment of each other. I can say, John didn't show up to any of the Zoom meetings and he submitted everything late. But before that point, that there should be corrective action before the very final assessment of each other. And so that's why I was saying that it could be like including the professor in that conversation, whether it then means that she decides like they did any of their individual coursework, so they're just no longer on the team, or I don't know if any of that made sense. My brain's kind of a fog.
I think that second bullet point ought to be the team trying to solve the problem. And then a third bullet point, if the team can't come to some kind of a decision, it should go to the professor.
I was going to actually add another bullet point and make the third one kind of saying after multiple attempts at correcting behavior, we'll talk to the professor about it, but we'll deal with it internally first.
Yes.
Yeah, and at that point, that person is going to be responsible for doing their own discussion. They're not going to benefit from the Zoom meeting. They're going to have to do their own discussion and get their point that way, I think we should all start drinking wine during our meetings, like Sarah is. Sounds fun.
It's also like 10:30 right now, so I'm like getting ready for bed.
It's past my bedtime.
Yeah. I dropped the ball in my other class and I had a paper due last night and I wrote about the wrong topic and up until like 2 o'clock in the morning my time trying to finish the correct.
Oh. Was that the paper for that other class that we're in?
Yeah.
I was so pissed. I wrote a long ass email to the professor because she nitpicked every little piece of that paper on mine and took a bunch of points off for stuff that I did technically correct, but that she just like thought was wrong apparently. I don't know. I've never had to write in such strict APA formatting. Like if you like don't capitalize the right thing or put something in slightly the wrong spot, she takes points off for it.
Yeah, I got
What
points.
course is that?
Resource allocation.
It's finance. It's boring.
What What's the name of the professor?
I think it was the same one that you said you had.
Yeah, all she cares about is APA. You could write anything. You could write about farming as long as it's in APA.
And
You're
literally what I did with that paper, she was like, go to these websites and research them. And I was like, she didn't give us any kind of guidelines or what we're supposed to talk about or anything. So I just like went to the website and just wrote 2 pages about pretty much nothing. And
Yeah, content is not relevant in that class.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
You told me my paper wasn't long enough. And that it has
When am I ever going to use APA formatting after this class? I'm not going to be a researcher. I'm not going to be a psychologist.
My boyfriend's in law school, and every year they change their like citations, and so he's just like every year he's like, all right, gotta learn new style.
Okay. Can everybody see the 3 bullet points that I put in there? Do we agree or want to edit them?
My computer's not uploading it. It's having trouble.
Yep.
Working.
Policy number 1, we are all in this together. All roles are equally important to the success of the group. Number 2, the group will communicate as described in the group expectations. Failures on any individual's part will be discussed within the group to try to correct the lacking behavior. Failure to communicate absence from a meeting or inability to perform their assigned role will be passed on to the professor after multiple attempts at correction.
I think that's good.
Seem okay? Seem reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else people want to add or discuss in that section? Oh my, there's still a lot of this left.
That's what I was saying. I think some of
I lost my ability to see the document. I don't know why. I'm trying to.
Maybe reload the page. Maybe something just messed up with it.
Yeah, I'm trying to add.
it might be your connection because you're starting to like freeze intermittently.
Am I? Yeah, I'm on a hotspot connection right now.
Okay. Yeah, some of these things, I don't know. Maybe I'm just lazy, but some of these don't seem super relevant, like procedures.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think we should move on to like decision-making stuff because that was one of the emphases that she gave us in the assignment. And then she also said cultural considerations, and there's no section about that at all, so I'm not sure what she means by that.
I mean, could it be like different communication styles?
Kinda. Anyways, are we okay with moving on to decision-making and deleting the procedures section since we don't technically need it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, decision-making. Amy said, team discussion is done successfully through our Zoom meetings. I believe that the team discussions should be made through our Zoom meetings because we are all present at that time and can come to a conclusion sooner than emails or text discussions.
So one of the things that we had talked about last week, but we said it was too specific, were, I don't know if you guys all have your textbooks, but on page 171 is a chart with different decision-making rules. So it was like the majority rules, random member rules, average winner rules, and just different ways to kind of assess if we can't all agree unanimously to something, how we would go about making a decision. So I don't know if we want to like pick one of those decision styles to say, I mean, I guess we already pretty much unanimously decided on Tom as our interviewee, but like if we couldn't come to a decision about that, how we would.
Yeah, I don't see too many conflicts arising, especially from what it sounds like the end goal of this project is supposed to be. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a very controversial subject between everybody. So I feel like if we just pick one, I forget what you had suggested, Sarah, but that one sounded fine last week. I say we just pick that and put it in there just as a, if problems arise, we have this to use kind of thing.
What method did you want to use? I feel like there's only 5 of us in the group, so we have to go with, like,
Well, and
you know.
when we were talking about this, I still wasn't even sure if we had like an actual, not if we had like a goal beyond just being a team, where if we were going to have to be like making decisions about like a marketing plan for a fake company, or electing board members or something like that. So I had proposed the average winner decision making, and I think that like we jumped the gun a little bit because I thought the professor had said next week is when we're going to start discussing like the details of our interview, and so I think that's probably when we're going to decide like who to interview, what the content will be, what some of the questions will be. We already made that decision, but at this point, if we were making our charter, we would not have been at that decision making point yet. So I think that even just having something in there in case there is another decision that she kind of springs on us, we can say that it's a majority rule, a blind vote that we send an email. I don't know, but
Everybody writes it down and holds it up in front of the camera at the same time.
In the book, it says group decision rules, and it says the alternatives of using those group decision rules, and there's a lot of them, is the alternative is the fewest members object to, or the choice that maximizes group welfare. I like that, choice that maximizes group welfare, and then refer to the group decision rules as outlined in Chapter 7, page 171.
Okay, wait, what page are you on, you said?
170, group decision rules, paragraph 3.
Yeah.
It lists the most common ones, but on 171, it's got group decision rules.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. The maximizes team welfare.
Welfare. And I think those are words right out of the book that can't be argued with.
Yeah, I also think
Argue about them.
if we end up having, having to have a discussion about a decision like this, I think we should make sure that we find a time that we can schedule a Zoom meeting to do it in person too. Like Sarah was saying, it's a lot easier to do the discussions in person than if we were trying to have a big discussion through email, especially with how kind of broken up the school email system is. It doesn't really like put everything together into one long thread, so we'd have to be fishing through 10, 20 emails if we're trying to have a discussion.
Right.
I mean, I was just thinking of another thing that we've had to use for decision making, even just scheduling these Zoom meetings, where I think it was last week, Sean, you had said that Wednesday was going to be tough for you, but you were able to make it work. This week it was tough for Amy, but figuring out if we can't find a time that is ideal for everybody, then how we make that decision. If it's just
yeah, that's why I feel like majority is the way to go, because if the most people can make it in that scenario, the most people that can make the meeting, it's for the probably the benefit of the team, right? More people can go than less.
Yeah, so that like based on what it seems like we'll be using, what our team will be making decisions on, I think that you're right. Majority makes more sense.
Sure. Yeah, sure. A lot of these have value, but depending on the team, the size of the team, the circumstances. But I feel like our circumstances, we're limited, so we're so small, and I feel like if 3 out of the 5 can meet one day, then that's the benefit. The majority. My opinion.
I agree.
We're making sure that members that aren't on Zoom get all of the information and asking them to comment on that information.
Sure, and yeah, I mean, even if they can't make it, we can try to accommodate them. Whatever, giving them a recording, email them minutes or notes on what we discussed, whatever. But as far as the actual meeting itself, I feel like we have to go with the most amount of people that can be there.
Yeah, and it's also, since it hasn't been like a
Right.
Oh, sorry, you go.
No, I was just going to say, Amy emailed today that she couldn't make it. I emailed her and just asked her to comment on each section and thanked her for telling us and thanked her for any comments that she could have.
Yeah.
So it's not that, I don't think it's that critical that we make every single meeting. We try, but that's going to happen.
Yeah, you're right, and that's the reason. I mean, that's the reason at least I'm taking online classes, because I have a jacked up schedule where I can't be reliable. So if our team can be flexible like that, then
Yeah.
we'll all benefit.
No, I agree with you.
I'm going to watch these Zoom meetings for a siren. I
So
imagine
I'm sure one of these days that'll be the case.
you'll leave quickly.
Ugh.
You'll see me with my phone zooming you guys while I'm driving down the street.
Okay, so does everybody that can see that section, that bullet point, the 3 bullet points that I added about decision making?
Yeah.
Trying to reopen it right now.
I'll just read it to you. I'll make it easy on you. Team decision making will be performed during our Zoom meetings. We will make the decision that creates the most welfare for the group. And if a decision is imperative, we will use majority rule to make a final decision. Everybody agree on that?
Sounds perfect.
Hopefully,
Yeah, that sounded good to me.
hopefully Amy agrees as well. I just realized we're talking about all this decision making and policies and stuff, and
Hey, but we got the majority, so.
Yeah. we have the majority. Good thing we made that rule about majority rule between the Okay, so I think the other 2 important ones are going to be the next 2, the conflict resolution and problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think we kind of, I was going to say we kind of covered conflict resolution with the decision making section, but I do like how much a couple, like Amy talked about people keeping their composure and making sure stuff is discussed calmly and trying to leave emotion out of it. Like I said, I don't see a lot of conflict like that happening in a group like this, but it's good to remind people that we're all human and we're all friendly and should be, empathetic with each other. So I think we should just have something in that section about composure and empathy.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't see a reason for us to lose our composure in this group. Is everybody there?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I was just
I
typing our thoughts.
feel like we're getting tired.
I think we're almost done with the stuff we really need to do. So we're pretty much
Ryan, on your last bullet point,
yes.
we will try to have empathy and respect. I think that's a big part of the textbook.
Yes, that is very important. Sean, are you still having problems with the document?
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm not able to see actively what's being written down. So
Yeah, I'll read it to you so that you know what we're saying in case you want to add anything. We put the team will do their best to maintain their composure if a disagreement should arise. Reducing the number of people involved and maintaining a calm demeanor is important to proper conflict resolution. We will try to have empathy and respect for other members in the case that a conflict does arise.
I like that. Sounds good.
Yep.
Yep.
So I think the last one we really, maybe the timeline we should probably talk about, but other than that, problem solving.
Yeah, I was looking at that timeline. To me, seems like a no-brainer. It's like it's all relevant to the syllabus. It's like when's what due, you know?
Well, some of the stuff about like the timeline is because there's some of them that are blank in terms of like the internal team like discussions, whether we do discussion posts or the Zoom meetings.
I gotcha. So like when we do what thing?
Yeah, so when we're like connecting as a team. So if we're doing Zoom meetings, I mean Wednesdays have worked pretty well because I think it gives people enough time to like go through the readings for the week, but also enough time for us to work on the assignment before it's due. So we can keep it as Wednesday. We had talked before, I think Tom, you had mentioned initially having like Tuesdays and Thursdays or Tuesdays and Fridays if we were doing
Right.
like discussion board posts as a team for our like unit communication. But so I think that the timeline's just saying that if we have like a set day each week when members are supposed to like touch base, whether it's this Zoom meeting or sending an email with their, like, since Amy wasn't able to make the meeting, but she uploaded all of her comments into the Google document before the meeting, so we were able to sort of include her.
Right.
And kind of be what the timeline is, and then also reiterating that if people can't make it to any of the like the Zoom, if we have a Zoom meeting that's planned and people can't make it, that then they have to let us know, beforehand, not 2 days later. Oh, sorry, I missed the meeting.
Sure.
How is next Wednesday for everybody?
Wednesdays are good with me as far as I know.
Amy had said that she's available Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but not Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
I think, Sean, are you working early next week or are you on call?
Wednesday next week. Is that what day is that?
5th, I think. 6th.
Wednesday?
4th.
The 4th, I will be working, but I will do my best to meet with you guys.
Is Monday, Tuesday, or is Monday or Tuesday better, or are you working those days as well?
I remember my schedule.
Sorry.
Sorry, I'm looking it up right now
That's fine.
just to make sure.
I'm gonna go grab my planner too. I'll be right back.
Tuesday, I could do Tuesday anytime. Wednesday would be iffy. Thursday, I could do anytime.
Ryan, Tuesday?
Tuesdays, I would probably be about 30 minutes late. It's the one evening that I am going to be working until 6 for the moment. But I can be here by about 6:30 Pacific time, which is about 30 minutes after the meeting started. So I'm fine with that. But any other evening is fine with me.
Tuesday?
I have a concert Tuesday. 7:30 my time. So if you guys wanted to do it later, I could do it after the concert, but I probably won't be home until like 11. my time, so like 8. But I could do Monday or Wednesday. And then
So Sean, you're iffy on Wednesday, but everybody else is good on Wednesday?
Let's do Wednesday.
Yeah, if you gotta come for what you can and then work.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is I can be there. It's just I'm unreliable. I may have to be in and out. That's all. It's worked out the last couple times, but
Yep.
let's go for it.
Sounds acceptable to me.
Okay.
Next Wednesday, and again,
Yeah,
Arizona.
if you guys are okay with my sporadic attendance.
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
did you say Wednesday that was better than Monday? I can't remember. I had to step out of the room.
They're both the same for me. I feel like Wednesday's better just because it gives us more time to get through the material.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of reading there. So.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and that's true because Monday is when all of this stuff is due because of the holiday this weekend. So that
Right.
would be a lot on Monday to try to.
Yeah, we wouldn't even know what we're talking about. She probably won't post it. Well, she may post it Monday, but we'll see.
Right.
That's the one thing I really like about that other class, Sarah, is that she posts the entire
Yeah.
section of assignments the first week, so you can go ahead and do as much as you want. I've already done 4 of the quizzes just because the quizzes are easy in that class.
Yeah, although it screwed me over when I wrote the wrong the wrong week's paper.
Good job.
I was like, oh, it'll make for an easy weekend this weekend.
Save yourself time.
Yeah. Until I was up till 2 in the morning writing a paper last night.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have Wednesday, 6 p.m.
About timeline stuff, I was just adding to the timeline section of the document. I just said the timeline will be set by the professor in the case of specific assignment due dates, and then I was going to add a bullet point about planning regular Wednesday meetings, and if we need to, changing the day if a majority of the group can't make a Wednesday or something. Is that okay with people?
Yeah.
And do we want to stick with the same time or kind of keep that as a rolling?
I feel like that's a good time. I mean, it's consistent, so
As long as you guys don't mind me drinking my wine.
I don't mind.
Time works for me.
All right.
So as far as any edits we need to make to our charter now before I submit it, do we need to let Amy go over it
Yeah, let's.
before I submit it?
Because it's not due till Monday, right?
It's
Right.
not
So how?
So I'm gonna go in either later tonight or tomorrow and just clean up the formatting and get rid of the sections that aren't pertinent to our project, and then I'll let Amy know that she should go through and just make sure that the editing is finalized and spelling and formatting and all that looks like have a second pair of eyes on it, basically.
And we
Okay,
all-
and I think all of us will go through it as well, and we'll all. I mean, I know I will go through it again, and we'll just put another, read through it one more time, just make sure it's all good. And then if anything comes up that we have an objection to, we can email each other and figure it out from there. If not, I'll confirm with everyone before I submit it on Monday.
Yeah, and I think we all have to sign it anyways. So
Okay, and signatures just initials and date kind of thing, or
I think
like we did on our last one?
Yeah, I think even if you just write your name and the date, and then
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
just
at the bottom? At the
Yeah.
bottom?
the last
At the
section.
bottom, yeah.
because it has
Okay.
our own ID, so it's going to show that I'm signing my name, you're signing your name.
Okay. So I'll confirm with all you guys via either email or text before I submit it with her on Monday.
Sounds good.
That everybody's names are on there.
What's that?
Just maybe make sure that everybody's names are on there.
Definitely.
Tom's afraid that you're going to leave him out.
No.
Tom, if your name's not on there, I'm gonna forge it.
Oh, I'll get there. I'll get there.
All right. Is there anything else any other sections we want to go over? Anything else we want to discuss before
The only thing we started talking about problem solving and then skipped the timeline, but I just copied over one of the sections from our ideal charter that says, through collaboration, team members will solve problems by utilizing their skill sets and the knowledge base of team members to help resolve issues. I thought that sounded good enough for our team, unless you guys want to add more to the problem solving section. I think that's another one that's a little redundant after we just did decision making and conflict resolution, and then all of a sudden it's problem solving. It's kind of three sides of the same coin.
One thought for the team. That's on these Zoom meetings. Dr. Shanley has decided not to have any more because of poor attendance. And she will have them if we want them.
The Zoom meetings that she runs. Okay.
And they're all worth 10 extra points.
Yeah, I want them.
I do too.
I went to the last one.
So here's how we do that. You go to Ask Dr. Shanley, okay, in the Blackboard, and then there's a topic there called Zoom meetings.
Okay.
And then click reply and tell her you're interested in them. The name of the guy that asked her about more, and she said no more. Then I went back and I said, I think they're great. But if we think they're great, we should tell her so she has them so that we can get the extra points. Because it's, to me, every extra point is closer to that 5 A's.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy. The one I went to, there was like 4 or 5 people. I mean, I don't know how, I guess out of the 68, that's not very good attendance, but.
I'm just imagining if all 68 people, like the square, like our faces would be so small.
It looked like
It's on the Blackboard. It's Ask Dr. Shanley. Look up under the topics for Zoom meetings and then reply you want them to.
Okay.
Oh, did we want to include something about the what's it called? The assessment, like at the end of the term? When she was here, we were talking about like that we will all do the class. What's it? I can't think. Evaluation, the course evaluation.
Evaluation.
She'll like that. She'll get a raise.
do you want to add that to an existing section or just put like a?
Well, I don't know if we want it to be part of the not the goals, but the purpose or not or expectations.
Expectations.
The
Yeah.
expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah, all members are expected to complete the evaluation at the end of the class.
Perfect. Absolutely.
Did I spell her name right?
CHANLEY.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All members are expected to complete the final class evaluation to help Professor Chanley improve on the class for next term.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's great.
Final thoughts or edits or anything people want to finish up with?
Very good meeting.
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
I did too. What?
Got some bread, Sean?
I missed dinner.
I'm sorry. We should let Sean get back to camping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Campfire. You got marshmallows?
We got some pulp or pot roaster.
Camping in style. No MREs?
No. No MRE. Not that kind of camping.
Okay. So that's it then. We agree. We're done.
All right. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Night,
Make
guys.
sure
Hey, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
take a look at
We'll
the
see you on
document.
Wednesday.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your trip, Sean.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You guys have a good week.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Night, guys.